Hi, this is the overview for 2 Thessalonians in the Youth Sunday School. The main event of this book is the false information the Thessalonians had received regarding the coming of the Lord. The final chapter has a lot of practical commands. It could be that some of this behavior mentioned in chapter 3 was the result of people giving up hope because of the false teaching they had received in chapter 2. This is a good time to talk about being discerning about different parts of the entire plan of the last days. In chapter 2, Paul will go from one event to another. Jesus often did this too. There's the beginning of the day of the Lord, the development of certain events leading to the Lord's actual appearing at the end of the tribulation. Then often Jesus will go right back to the very beginning before the tribulation, talking about the surprise and unexpected beginning. Even here in 2 Thessalonians, it's good to know the various events. Actually, with what Paul says here, it's obviously that he gave the Thessalonians a very comprehensive outline of God's plan. In chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, there are several things mentioned that can be specific and general. The coming of the Lord, for example, can mean the entire 7 years leading up to the millennial kingdom. The day of the Lord can also mean the tribulation in general or the exact day of Jesus' return. The assembling of ourselves to meet him is a key point in what Paul writes. Some people might think that the assembling is at the end of the tribulation. Yet if we know that the living believers are immediately translated or given resurrection bodies, it can't be the end of the tribulation. According to 1 Thessalonians 4:17, at the point that the church meets Christ in the air, they will always be with the Lord. At the end of the tribulation, those who are assembled will be living believers who will go with the Lord to the battle of Armageddon and then into the millennial kingdom. Even if the church came with the Lord to the Mount of Olives, we would be coming with him. We would not be assembled to him. While the rapture is important in 2 Thessalonians, it seems that the people were shaken in thinking that the day of the Lord had come. That is, that they were in the tribulation and that Christ's second advent, his coming to earth, was near. Most of Paul's writing is to show them that this wasn't even possible. That the Lord was coming soon to judge. This is an important point to have clear in your mind. Their confusion isn't that the tribulation had started without them being raptured. It's that the return of the Lord to earth to establish his kingdom, to judge the earth, was very near. When we say day of the Lord, then, we need to figure out if the writer is referring to the entire time, to a specific time, or to a particular event. Again, this is one of the challenges in understanding Jesus both in Matthew 24 and Matthew 17. In 2 Thessalonians 2:3, Paul says that two distinct things have to happen before Jesus returns to judge. One will be the rejection of faith in Christ by the church. This is also mentioned in Matthew 24. Notice that in Matthew 24:9, you're already past the birth pangs, and this flow of text ends at verse 14. This seems to describe the work of the 144,000 during the first 3.5 years particularly. Verse 15 begins the Great Tribulation in the second 3.5 years. In 2 Thessalonians 2:3, Paul mentions this too. That is, the revealing of the Antichrist as he takes the throne in Jerusalem. That Paul refers to this event shows that the people were thinking Christ's return to earth was close, yet this event hadn't happened yet. Some people have taken this revealing of the man of sin to signal the beginning of the tribulation, and have felt compelled to make the first rider in Revelation 6 the Antichrist. However, it isn't until the 3.5 year mark in the tribulation that the man of sin is fully revealed. And as for the day Paul is talking about, it appears to be Christ's coming to establish his kingdom on earth. Again, this lesson is for both you and the students to get a clearer idea of some of the events to come. In terms of applying the message of the book, you can talk about the world being shaken up by COVID and now by the war in the Ukraine. We don't need to be shaken. We need to remember that things like this must happen, but we don't know the timing that God has planned. We need to follow every day in anticipation of His return and be ready for action. We need to be stirred to action by these events and follow better and with better focus. We need to be stirred, not shaken. Maranatha.